Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Have You Seen with Nick.
Lance.
All right, so this time it was my turn to ask if you have seen something. So Lance, have you seen Dog Soldiers?
I have not, but I have now.
Oh yeah, it's an old DVD that I picked up and I knew nothing about other than the cover had some werewolves that look kind of like baboons in some sort of sense.
That, to me, they look like straight up baboons. So, but yeah, when you handed that to me, I was like, "You sure it's not called baboon soldiers?" Because they look like straight up like evil baboons.
So now that you've seen it, what did you think of it?
Well, you want me to give the rating first?
We can start with the rating if that's what you want to do.
Well, I don't want you like shuffling around your numbers or anything like that. So,
Yes, my numbers are on the table.
no. Well,
Already chosen.
um,
So out of 10, 0 to 10, what would you get this movie?
I give it a 5.
Okay. I mean, I was close-ish. I picked 6.
Okay.
Because I figured it would be one that you kind of like.
Yeah, it
Because
was.
there's a few things in it that are neat.
Yes, there was definitely a few things in it that were neat. But for the most part, it's like, do I ever see myself like watching this movie again? Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
I'd say it's definitely a one and done for me. But
Think of all the actors in it that you probably weren't expecting to recognize.
so we'll talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll definitely talk about that. But yeah. So what did you give it?
I give it about a 6.
6?
And that it's slightly above average. And I've revisited it this might be my third time watching the movie. And
So-
am I going to go back and watch it sometime soon? Probably not, but eventually I will. I think.
The funny part is that I had 6,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was thinking about it and was like, well, he just said it was like a random DVD that he picked up. I was just like, hey, what's this movie? So like I went back and changed it to a 5.
It's close-ish.
But yeah, it's so let's start off with people who are in the movie.
Yeah, we can talk about that and not be spoilery. I think.
So you had Sean Pertwee.
Who I didn't recognize.
So when I saw him, I was like, holy shit, that's Alfred Pennyworth from like the Gotham TV show. I was just like, that kind of surprised me because that's like the only thing I really know him from.
Mm-hmm.
But like as soon as I saw him, as soon as he started talking in the movie, I was like, that's Alfred.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had Kevin McKidd, who plays he's in Fake Doctor, or as it's I guess more commonly known, Grey's Anatomy.
But as Amber calls Fake Doctor.
Yeah. Well, they started calling it Fake Doctor because I started calling it Fake Doctor.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if she remembers that, but I used to say I don't understand what you like about this show because it's basically a Fake Doctor show. But I think I started that with Scrubs.
Yeah.
So
I mean, all Doctor shows are Fake Doctor shows. But
yeah, of course. But like, it's just
it's a drama more than it is a medical drama, isn't it? Where it's kind of about what's going on between the characters rather than the medical stuff going on.
They try to give so much gravitas to like, oh my god, like he's hemorrhaging through his ear and we have to go through his nose to like stop this. It's just the way they talk about this stuff. And but anyways, Kevin McKidd, he plays Dr. Owen Hunt in Fake Doctor, also known as Grey's Anatomy. And the reason I picked him out like so fast is it's because it's one of the characters that Amber hates on that show.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I saw him, I was like, holy shit, that's that fucking guy. Which I thought was hilarious because that was the only thing I ever knew him from. But going through his IMDb page, he's been in quite a few things. Like he was in Trainspotting. Apparently he's in Brave.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tyson's Mysteries, that's hilarious. Star Wars Rebels, apparently he plays Finn.
Yeah, I didn't recognize the name. Because we looked at that one up earlier.
There's like so many weird names.
Yeah, I don't recognize. I didn't recognize him.
Well, I mean, he's not even top billing.
No, he's probably just in a few episodes in one season, I imagine.
Yeah,
because it was like 7 episodes or something like that he was in.
But anyways, yeah. So the guy's basically he's been in quite a few
things.
He's
been in some stuff, and this is one of his earlier movies, I think.
Yeah, and then the last guy I recognized was Liam Cunningham, which I recognized as being Davos Seaworthy from Game of Thrones.
And I recognized him from Clash of the Titans, the remake, but more than that, Harry Brown, and not even an older movie. I mean, it's because I think it's maybe like early 2000s with Michael Caine, which is also a good movie. If you've not seen Harry Brown, that one's good.
I haven't seen it.
You have seen it. I was there when you saw it. Not how much you remember it, however. That was like there's some cool visuals in that one. Where
Was I playing World of Warcraft?
no, I think you were sitting. We were in the computer room, because that's where back in the old house, the living room was barely ever used for viewing, because everything good was in the computer room, because that's where everyone hung out.
Hmm.
So we were probably in there. I don't know that you were playing WoW, but that's the one. That's what we were just talking about, where like the guy smoked the gun.
Yeah, I remember parts of it, but
You'd have to actually sit and watch the movie at some point in time.
probably that'd be one that like you come over and we just like chill and like just watch it.
So that's a good one.
But
I don't know if it's super popular, but that's one that kind of stuck out to me as kind of cool.
so he was also so Liam Cunningham was also in Rick and Morty as Bartholomew. Bartholomew was the slut dragon. Solar Opposites, he played the pupa.
I've never seen.
It doesn't talk until apparently like one particular part, but it must be an episode that I haven't gotten to yet.
He's got a decent.
He's got a large roster. And then the next character that I recognize from this movie that I want to talk about is none of the others, because I don't recognize anybody else from the cast.
So shall we start talking a bit more in depth about Dog Soldiers?
Yes.
So this is one I did not look up, like where you could go see it. I guess you're on the IMDb. Does it have a like you could see it?
So you can see Dog Soldiers. That lady's name is Emma Cleesby, by the way.
It might be just like buy it on Amazon.
So it says search on Amazon.
Yeah, I don't. This might be one of those movies that's a bit harder to track down, or maybe it's entirely free on YouTube for totally legal reasons. I imagine you could absolutely see it.
See, that's about what I was about to say. Is I was going to say you could probably find it on YouTube, because it seems like one of those movies that you could find like just hidden.
It's one of those forgotten movies, I'd imagine, because I've never heard anyone else talk about this movie but me. And
Well, I didn't even know it existed until you brought me the DVD and was like, oh, this looks interesting. I'd love to see like fucking werewolf baboons killing people. This should be really interesting.
all right, so you track down the movie if you're interested. Otherwise, listen to us talk about it, and if it wets your whistle, maybe it's one you want to track down, because I think there's some stuff in it that's cool. Is the movie amazing? Not really. Is it bad? It's not bad. It's just it's kind of
Pretty bad.
yeah, as like it's a bad movie. I mean,
That's just like some of the. So we are in spoiler territory at this point.
like track it down, and we're gonna start talking about the movie. Maybe us talking about it will either sway you one way or the other. So let's talk about Dog Soldiers.
Okay.
So it's low budget, and the reason why I kind of thought about it is Tim had us watch The Ritual. It's a bunch of British people walking around in the woods. And I'm like, hey, I know a bunch of British people walking around in the woods. It's Dog Soldiers. Or it was kind of the Scottish soldiers were going on a training exercise out in the woods, and then some weird shit starts going down, and they start getting chased by some like werewolves, and they end up go into this cottage, and now the cottage is under assault by werewolves. I'm like, okay, the movie's kind of fun. There's some stuff in it that I like.
So they get saved by the girl
Yes.
who brings them to the thing. And the funny part is in the very beginning of the movie, she's like, I know how to kill him. I know how to stop him. And they fucking ignore her. And they keep getting like iced. And then, yeah, like that was one of the parts I had problems with. She's like, I know how to stop these things. And they're just like, oh, let's talk more about how fucking brave and soldiery we are and what we're going to do to stop him. It's like, maybe you want to listen to the girl who has information.
Yeah.
One of the things I did like the practical effects. I liked that they did practical effects. What I didn't like was in the beginning of the movie, they wouldn't show you the things. You got like very fast, what I call spawn vision, where like shaky camera, like crazy. Because you got a lot of their arm, like the arm coming through and like trying to grab shit.
Yeah. And like through the roof of the car or whatever.
Yeah, and then like you would get like quick glimpses of the face, but it was like super quick glimpses, and like the camera's moving the entire time that you're like seeing them and shit. So it's like you wouldn't really get a good look at them. It was near over the halfway mark where they actually kind of gave you some better glimpses of what they were. But I wasn't crazy about the shaky cam. I thought it was weird that like from their belly button down, they were so long. It was like people on stilts.
Yeah, it's that people in suits essentially, and in order to give people digitigrade legs, you've got to fucking stilt them up a little bit.
You got to put them on the weird stilts,
which makes them just tall.
Yeah, and it was just kind of weird. I had to watch this one in subtitles because when they got going on like
Yeah, I think everyone's Scottish, so you got the Scottish accents going.
so when they got going, like it was very hard to like follow some of the stuff they were saying. So I watched it with subtitles and I was like, oh, okay, there it is. But like yeah, like the beginning of the movie, I really liked it. Like I liked in what direction it was heading. And then when the guy was like, "Ah, you top marks, and all you have to do now is kill the dog," it was like, "Oh, here we go with that fucking that bit again."
It's another British movie in which they're like, kill the dog.
Yeah.
After Kingsman or whatever, it's like you've done this whole training. Now shoot your dog.
What the fuck do the British have against dogs? I mean, Jesus Christ. Yeah, y'all love British actors, but apparently they kill a lot of fucking dogs over there. So you might need to rethink your position. But like, yeah, they did that whole trope again, and then it's like he went and got on the other team, and it was like a guaranteed that guy is going to be Liam Cunningham's going to be the foil.
Yeah. Well, I think they were just going to have him show up later and just be a dude, but they're like, we need to build it up a little bit more. So they went and they shot that scene after the fact to kind of set him up as a villain, so he's just not some random asshole later on in the movie.
The only thing that they didn't do that I kind of wish they would have done was the way they set it up. So you had Sarge, who got scratched up.
Yeah. Which that was a scene I liked in which when he got scratched up and the dude was putting his intestines back and he's like, they're not gonna fit. I'm like, dude, they're gonna fit.
I'm gonna make them fucking fit. And he's like, I'm all over the place. He's like, yeah, I'm just gonna shove them back in. Then he's like shoving his fucking guts back in.
And I think that was a cool scene. Like guy gets disemboweled, being like, dude, you're fucking coming with me. You're my commanding officer. Your guts are going back in.
Yeah,
we're gonna fucking patch you up and take you with us.
If he wouldn't have been infected with like the lycanthropy at that point, that dude would have died like sitting right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that part was neat. Like most of what I liked about the movie was in the beginning.
Yes.
Like when they were all kind of like gelling and talking, like becoming a team and stuff like that. When he was telling the story about like Sarge was telling a story about like his friend and everything like that. Like all that stuff was really good. Then like once the werewolves came in, it was just kind of like. Like, because I didn't like the way they looked. I didn't like some of the over the top action stuff. One of the things I thought was hilarious was the very first time the one dude is like getting attacked at the front door with like by one of the werewolves, and he like falls down on the floor and he's like shooting through the door, and then like this closet opens up and this gigantic fucking tank comes falling on him and he rolls out the way real fast. And the second that tank fell out, I was like, okay, I know how they're taking him out with that right there. That was like a huge, I was like, they're definitely going to blow up the tank to fucking like take some of them out at some point.
That's just setting stuff up.
Yeah, agreed. But like gigantic, super candy apple red tank that almost falls on his face. And it's like, why the fuck is that tank in this cabin in the middle of nowhere? It's like, does she have a helium balloon business on the side?
Well, presumably it's propane, right? And if you're that far off the grid, you need your own fuel.
Sure. You know what? I can jam with that. Sure. But
you got to cook your basement full of people.
Yeah, but like it was super predictable what was going to happen. The only thing I wished that would have happened was you had the two commanders get scratched.
Yeah,
and I was hoping for a big werewolf battle between the two of them,
which unfortunately that didn't really happen.
Yeah, and then like I really wanted to see what Sarge was going to turn into as far as the werewolf, but we didn't really get any of that. We got him starting to change, and then like the big bada boom. But even then, I don't think that's enough to kill a fucking werewolf.
I mean, it depends on where you're pulling your lore and stuff from.
I mean, they seem to be going with the more traditional stuff, silver.
But they were also shooting him and it was hurting.
Well, yeah.
They shot Chicken in the head, and I think they showed one, or they shot her in the eye or something like that. And when the werewolves were there later, you had one that was missing an eye. So getting shot in the eye is enough to like fuck up your eye, maybe for a bit. Maybe it'll heal later, but for the in the short term, she's one eye down.
Yeah, I'm sure by the time she would have gone back to human, the eye would have been there, and then when she shifted back the next time, it would have still held through. But
it seems like they can get shot and it hurts and it slows them down a little bit. Well, it's probably not going to be a death sentence, but it's enough to.
Well, they do that like mainly in like most werewolf movies. Like when they get shot, it's like. It hurts them, but it comes nowhere near to stopping them.
Well, you've seen Cursed, right?
Yes.
So, small spoiler for Cursed, but they end up, they gun her down, and one person's like, that's not going to kill a werewolf. And then someone, like, she comes back for the jump scare, and the guy shoots her in the head, and her brains are on the floor. And that's it. I mean, you shotgun a werewolf in the head and spill their brains on the floor, they're fucking dead. It doesn't matter if it's not silver. You got a good shot. Essentially, you got the crit,
I think that's another version of
and that's
like
just kind of
what lore you're pulling
yeah.
from.
What lore are you pulling from?
Because you have like John Talbane, who was like the Wolfman and stuff like that. Like that dude could not be killed, and he like marched through ages because he was, indestructible pretty much. But yeah, the movie was like it was very predictable on most parts. The parts that I didn't want to be predictable did not happen, and it's like that was the coolest part in the movie to me was when they did the whole we need to get the van out of the barn. And then
and he sneaks in and goes in.
yeah, he sneaks in and jumps in the van, and then when he turns the van on, the headlights come on, and there was that one white one, the white wolf that was like chewing on his buddy slowly.
And the guy like reached for him.
Yeah,
he was still like alive.
And then like she just like that dude disappeared like way earlier in the movie, so she was just kind of like. And then his buddy came in, she's like, "I'm gonna do something that's really gonna fuck with your head," and like bit his head off and like threw it in the van.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting, but like that was the first really good look you got at the werewolves, and they look. I did not think they looked good. Like like stiff mouth.
Yeah, they look a little bit low budget and whatnot. And
Well, the movie was made in 2002, right?
yeah, 2002, and you can it's especially not going to show up on that tiny little camera, but you can see the little stilt man werewolf. See the silhouette of him. It's low budget, but,
it is.
But the fact that they used practical effects will have aged it better than imagine 20-year-old CG if they'd gone back and
That would have looked fucking.
it would have
horrid.
looked awful. Whereas at least this one, it's there. It's real. Like when you've got the little werewolf hand coming through, it's at least an arm coming through.
Well, those parts looked good. Like they had a big muscly person with like fucking like long
like
fingers.
glove on
Yeah.
or something like that.
Like that, those parts look good. But like the parts that like made me laugh is you have this super elite team of combat fighters, and like the first time the one dude was like really pinned down at the door, he's like holding it shut with his foot, and he can't reach the shotgun, and like this dude's going to get fucking iced. The door bursts open, and the Kevin McKidd character, like there's just a couch. And like he does like the roll over the couch, and like he does the roll across the couch, and when he hits the ground, I expected him to like be at a knee and like shoot, but like you see him roll on the couch, and then he's like down for a second, and then kind of does the hop, like actor who doesn't have like any like super cool combat role Neo looking shit. Like that part just kind of got me. It was like, oh, just take your time getting to your fucking knees, buddy. Because like you really kind of felt the pressure at that point because the thing was like coming through the door like ready to eat his face.
You have to have time for the action roll though.
Yeah, but like it was just there was a lot of stuff that was like super predictable. Like like when the girl was like, I know how to kill him, and then she like did the turn of I brought you here, and it's like then why the fuck like what was the deal with like even getting us to the cabin? Like we were dead to rights out in the fucking woods.
Well, she was not part of the family originally. She really was just the person that showed up and was going to like study the area, and then she got changed into a werewolf, and she was hoping that they would show up, kill the rest of them, and that would somehow like cure her of her lycanthropy. That way she could like go back to being a person. But then they showed up and they were getting their asses kicked, and she's like, well, I guess you're not it. So I guess time just to be a part of the family instead.
I would think that your family would still have problems with that.
Yeah, probably. But she also brought him dinner. And at that point in time, I don't think any of the werewolves had been actually killed. So how pissed would they be?
I mean, dinner was already fast food at that point. Like they were fucked out in the woods. They were going down because they were in the open. Those motherfuckers were like jumping out of trees and shit, like throwing cows at them and shit. Like those dudes were fucked out in the woods. And then they just basically put him in a small area. The other thing that I had a problem with was like Sarge is already dead, and they hear the thing like come through the window upstairs, and they go running up, and like they're doing the whole thing with like, oh, we have to stop it, and like it's doing the slow.
I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, it was stalking his ass slowly, and even after other people ran in the room, it was still kind of like. So, like, I thought that was a little weird. But for the most part, like all the soldiery stuff.
I like the soldiery stuff.
Yeah, like why the guys were up there, like looking for the thing to like bring it back and all that stuff. Like,
yeah. So where you had the team that we're following was the bait, so that the elite team could try to track down the beast and get one and bring it back. And we're gonna have werewolves be in the army or whatever, and just kind of drop a werewolf on a place. And Which is the thing I think they did in Love, Death, and Robots. Wasn't that one of the episodes? You had a werewolf soldier,
I don't remember.
and I think it was one of the better episodes where it was just like you had
I
a
think it was
werewolf,
one
you
of
had
the
a, you
better
had a
animated
werewolf,
ones,
in,
too.
you had a werewolf in the army, and he was just kind of like no one liked him because he was he smelled like a dog,
That's right.
and they would just like send him out to do his werewolf shit. So I mean, there's
That's right.
a precedent for a cool story to be like, oh, we're gonna put werewolves in the army.
It's like when I saw that picture, Dog Soldiers, I thought it was going to be an elite team of soldier werewolves.
Yeah,
How fucking cool would that
that
have
would have
been?
been a pretty dope movie.
Like these fucking werewolf supermen like running through like enemy lines and like fucking people over, and then when it was like soldiers stuck in house with werewolves attacking them, I was like,
Yeah, it's more of soldiers versus werewolves rather
Yeah.
than werewolf soldiers.
and that's where it kind of let me down, because like I guess it should have been obvious with like the little laser sights on the fucking baboons here on the cover, but like
Oh,
I'm telling you, like, take the ears off. Tell me that's not a baboon.
I mean, I could. It's got the fangs to them, but I mean,
They look like baboon fangs.
it's definitely it looks like the person just took that face and just copied it over to this face. It's the same face again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's but the funny thing is, like, I wasn't sure if I had the right movie when I was looking it up to watch it, so I like went looking for the cover of your DVD and I could not find that cover. So like I had to do some digging and finally found that. I was like, okay, this is the right one. So, but yeah, like I didn't watch your DVD. I ended up watching it somewhere else. Yeah, it was okay. Like if we were going to like MST3K at one night, I'd probably want to watch it again if I had a couple of shots in me. And
Yeah, it's. I think it's one that would be fun to kind of make fun of a little bit too.
yeah,
And there's still some stuff in it that I find
like what?
that I actually like. So I guess the scene in which you have Sarge, they took him up to the bedroom and they're gonna like stitch him up, and it's just kind of they're stitching him up without anesthetic. That's entertaining. And eventually he's just like, hit me. And he like knocks the shit out of him. He's like, hit me again.
You fucking pussy. You fucking pop. Yeah, actually, I really like that part too, because like, yeah, hit me. And then he fucking knocked him, and then he was like, come on, you fucking. Because like I thought he was out the first time because he went down.
He went down.
And then he was like, "Gah, hit me again." And like the dude fucking decked him the second time, and then he went out.
Yeah.
I did think that part was very funny. Like I said, any of the soldier stuff, I loved it.
Yeah.
Because like they did feel like they were like a cohesive like unit. Like when they're talking, like when they were doing the story, I think one of my favorite parts of the movie was when they were all talking about stuff, and they're like, "Oh, I'd like to know what scares Sarge," and then he tells like his scary tale, and then like he gets to the end of it, and it's like, this happened to my friend, and then like the one guy's like, "Okay, so like these people walk into a bar," and like he immediately segues into a joke, and like I think what I loved best about it was like the second the guy started telling the joke, the camera cuts back to the Sarge, who still has like this haunted look on his face from like telling the story, and then like he looks over at the guy and immediately gets a smile on his face and looks over at like one of his other men like, "Get this fucking guy," like that's
Like read the fucking room, buddy.
yeah. Well, it was just it's little things like that I did appreciate, because it didn't feel like a bunch of actors who got together who were playing soldiers. To me, it felt like they were people who had known each other for a very long time, have been in a very tight unit. Like I don't know who was shooting that part or who was giving them directions on there, but like it had to have been someone that had some kind of camaraderie, like military training, to kind of guide them through that. Because I had forgotten about that part until you said it. But that part, like that Sean Petrie, like I think he was one of the best parts of the movie.
He was really good. He might be my favorite part too.
Yeah, he's very charismatic. But yeah, again, he had a super thick like Irish brogue to him. So like when he started talking, when he was really kind of like the first time he had to talk to Liam Cunningham's character, and he's like, "You need to shut the fuck up because you're scaring my boys, eh?" And like and it gets like really kind of thick right there, and I was like, So I had to like go back and like read it again. But yeah. Other than that, there's nothing that really stands out to me that I can remember about the movie.
So I like near the end of the movie where they're pretty much fucked, and the werewolves corner one guy, and he's like, "I hope I give you the shits."
That was funny.
Right before they eat him.
Yeah, he went straight pugilist on him.
Fucking box the werewolf.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna do a thing.
And he was holding his own.
Yeah.
And he's doing pretty good, but I was like, you're literally doing no damage to that thing, right? You're just pissing it off. The other part I thought was funny was when Sarge was stuck in the bathroom. And fucking dude was like knocking through the wall, and like he's like holding the door shut with like the shotgun and everything like that, and all of a sudden the dude's head like appears like down by the toilet. He's like, "Hey, we need to get you out of here!" And like he comes up into the bathroom, then they go through another fucking wall to a bedroom.
With a fucking knife.
Yeah, I thought that part was a bit much. I was kind of like, I don't know what would scare me more, the fucking fake doctor coming in through the floor, or the fucking like
Werewolf.
werewolf outside the door. But that part was amusing. The ending was disappointing, but you know,
Yeah, no werewolf fight, which is unfortunate.
Well, just think about how awkward that would have looked, though.
Yeah, probably that might have been why they ended up not being able to do it.
When it was people with like slightly hairy, big, muscly arms that were like coming through doors or coming through windows, like that looked really good. But then when you had the far back shot, like the arms were spindly, and like the fucking the torso was oblong.
So you got like kind of human shaped torso with longer arms and longer legs because it's a man in a suit. So
Yeah.
you're kind of limited in what you can do with it, I think, for the most part. And so their movements in werewolf form weren't fast and amazing or anything. Like it was dude in suit speed.
The way they were leading into it, I kind of felt like that was what was going to happen. Was it was going to be a big show off between his new Sarge and his old Sarge, and then like they didn't go in that direction because I have a feeling in the script it was like, let's do this fight between the two werewolf things, and somebody was like, okay, let's go ahead and shoot it, and then they shot it, and someone was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, well, it's not working or whatever, or it's too expensive, or we can't make it work logistically.
Yeah, like when they were on the stilts, it's kind of like.
It probably would have been very shaky cam and cut back and forth and stuff like that. So it's probably okay that's missing.
Yeah, but I mean,
I think you still had the cool thing where what was his name, like Collins or whatever, the McKidd fake doctor goes into the basement. It's just full of like all the people that get lost, and they set up like early on. Like the very first scene of the movie was like the couple that was out there, and it's like, here's your silver letter opener, and then they get attacked by a werewolf.
Whatever it was. Yeah.
Like just imagine how creepy it is. You're like sitting in the forest and you just kind of hear something big moving outside, and you're like, okay, and then your zipper starts going.
See, now that was setting the tone for me, where I was like, oh, this is gonna be good, because like that slow zipper going up, and then like you hear this thing like growling outside the fucking
Like
thing.
it's trying not to wake him up or something
Yeah,
like that.
like that part, I was like, oh, this movie's gonna be really good. And then like the chick like shoots out the thing, and like she's halfway up, but he's holding on the hands on one side, and something's holding her from the other, so she's like hovering off the ground, and then the blood spray. Like I thought, okay, this is gonna be a good fucking movie. Then they had the whole soldier thing in the beginning. I was like, oh, I am fucking in. This is gonna be so good. And then like all of a sudden it goes to like what. It's weird to say the worst part of the movie to me was the werewolves.
Yeah.
Like when they were just a thing that was off camera.
It was the idea of werewolves.
That was good. And then you actually see them, and it kind of like draws you back because it'd be like being attacked by Teddy Ruxpins on stilts. Like it's not very. They're not very scary looking. They're just odd to look at. Like I don't know. It was just weird. But yeah, like I wish I would have watched this movie yesterday. I watched it on Tuesday, and I had some notes, but I'd left them where I had watched it at, and but like I had that on there about the whole zipper thing in the beginning because like
that like cool setup, and it sets up something that pays off later. First, for him to have the knife to kill the old Sarge or whatever.
And that was like a thing that honestly I didn't expect to come back around because like honestly I had not put that together until you said that. Because that was the other thing. It was like, why the fuck would that be in her house? Like if I was a werewolf and I killed those people,
it's just kind of you kill them and drag them back to your house, and I guess it's just to drag all their shit too or whatever.
Yeah.
To kind of get rid of the evidence because you're people, so you're at least smart enough to know that like, hey, we can't be leaving empty tents with blood all over the place.
Sure.
So you just grab all their shit and throw it in your murder basement.
Yeah, but you pinch the fucking dagger through a jacket and you toss that thing into a lake. You don't leave the one thing that'll fucking ice you.
I mean, it was in a box. They might never even looked into it because I don't. They're people living. We never actually see them as people. We just kind of hear about them as the family.
You see the chick.
And see the pin and see like the pictures.
Yeah, you see the girl.
But she's not. I don't think she's part of their family. She gets turned and kind of like begrudgingly joins them. I think was kind of the implication I got. She's not one of the like. Here's the family of werewolves that live out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere in Scotland. and you kind of get the hint that the girl is kind of iffy, because like when she drives into the thing and they're like, is there anywhere else we can go, and she's like, there's not civilization for 4 hours. It's fucking Scotland. There's no place you can be in Scotland that's 4 hours away from civilization.
Yeah.
So you can get the sense that she's lying to them. Like, that's,
Maybe she meant on scooter.
I think you could walk. I think I could walk somewhere and not be 4 hours away from civilization at my 1 mile an hour or whatever.
Maybe it was like the woods and the Ritual.
No, you just kind of walk in circles.
Yeah, you just keep walking in circles. I remembered one other part that I jotted down that I thought was really good.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to blow a hole in the whole thing where it was like, okay, if it was a full moon out and all these things are turned into werewolves, then why wasn't she a werewolf the entire time?
Mm-hmm.
And what I thought was interesting is once Sarge realized what was going on with what they were fighting, and he was like, I want to show you something. And he fucking like lifted his shirt up, and he was all healed up. And he was like, does that look like a guy who took a fucking gut wound, like, just yesterday? And he's like, I don't know how I'm going to turn. I don't know. Is it like taking a piss, like trying to hold it back, like taking a piss? And the other guy said, well, maybe it's like having to take a shit. Mm-hmm. Where you could like really kind of hold on to it a little bit longer. Like that whole comparison I thought was really interesting, because I was going to blow a hole in the whole thing about like the girl. Why didn't she change? But like, if that's how it is, if you can like hold it back.
Because you can hold it a shit.
Yeah. Like, well, piss.
To a certain point. Like, piss, it's hard to hold it.
It's extremely hard, but like holding back a shit, you just, it's like, okay, well, I can probably push this back like an hour or so,
It's like, I'm busy right now. I'll shoot a little later.
Number one, yeah, that's high priority. That's 911 shit right there. But like number two, unless it's liquid, yeah, you can usually choke that back pretty good. But like, I liked that comparison, like when he said that, because he was like, well, I don't know how I'm going to change. Like, maybe it's like, holding back a piss. And the other guy was like, well, maybe it's like holding back a shit. And like, when he said that, I was like, that's a really good way to think about it.
I mean, again, they don't really go into what the werewolf lore is in this movie. Like, is it a full moon comes up and you just turn into a werewolf and you're a raging beast? Or is it just kind of like or is it like the true lycanthropes, like in D&D and stuff, where like, they were born this way, they can shift whenever the fuck they want. Yeah.
And they even talked about tactics and everything like that, like the alphas and like how everything was broken down. And like the one girl was like, they were like, I don't know or when the lights went off, and they're like, oh, fucking, they turn off the lights. And she's like, well, I imagine they think a lot like you. They're a pack, they're a team. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they have tactics. And the next thing you know, they started basically coming through adjacent windows, like different areas of the house, like trying to find the weak points, which I thought was neat. But like I said, like the worst part of the werewolf movie was the werewolves. Yeah. I mean, I would have been happier with fucking
bamboo werewolves or baboon.
Yeah, baboon, lycanthrope. So, but yeah, no. Other than that, I can't really think of anything else to say about the movie.
I think the last thing I have to mention is just I find it kind of I like the twist that like you're getting attacked by werewolves. So you're like, okay, we show up at the one house, and that one house in the middle of the woods. Well, that's where the family lives. So essentially, you think you found shelter, you stole their house, and now they're just like even more pissed because you're fucking in their living room or in their kitchen eating their dinner and stuff like that. And they're like, fuck, get out of our house.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, I think they even made a mention of that too. It's like, now we're in their place.
It's like we're Goldilocks or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, like, don't get me wrong.
It's there's stuff in it that's neat. But overall, it's like an okay movie.
Yeah, it's middle of the road. It's like straight middle of the road. Would I watch it again? Yes, if I had a few shots of me and we were over here and making fun of it.
I think it's a movie that you like introduce to some friends and then sit down and just kind of like, hey, I've seen this movie. It's kind of fun. Throw it in, kind of maybe throw on the subtitles.
Definitely throw on the subtitles.
And then kind of joke about it and kind of laugh about the stuff that's funny, like the being disemboweled and stuffing your guts back in. Yeah. And then just kind of like when the werewolves come on, joke about the fact that, like, man, look at the fucking werewolves. That's a dude on stilts.
Look at me. It's like everything's out. Well, I'm going to shove it back in. Like, that part was good.
Yeah. I think there's legitimately good stuff in with the kind of B-movie sort of stuff as well.
I think the first 25 minutes of the movie, you're really going to enjoy it. And then the werewolf stuff starts, and there's just so much camp there. That, like, if you have a couple shots and you and a buddy that's, like-minded and want to just have a good time, I think you'll laugh your ass off. But like, I was watching it at the place I was watching it at, and I was just kind of like, oh, that looks, hold on, let me run that back. Yep, no, that was totally a stiff mouth on the werewolf there. Hold on, did they even get a little bit of, there's a little bit there, I guess. But yeah, Would I recommend it? Yeah, sure. I mean, it's
No, I'm about in the same camp where it's like, should you watch this movie? Do you like B movies? Do you like watching B movies with friends? That's probably the best place to watch it.
Can you find it on YouTube for free? Tear it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, would I rent it on Amazon?
Maybe not. Would I like? I mean, obviously, would I buy it? I bought it not knowing what the hell it was. I looked at the title and I'm like, werewolf movie. And I'm like, does it look good based on the cover? Not really. But that's not necessarily what I buy movies for. I don't buy movies to be like, man, the acting's gonna blow me away, or the storyline is so deep, and I can just imagine the character. I want to sit down, like with my friends or my brother or whatever, throw in a shit movie.
I mean,
Because it's either going to be funny bad, and you're going to enjoy watching it,
yeah.
or maybe it'll actually be good, and you've just bought it like a legitimately good movie.
So I have to read this now because I'm like actually looking at the. So this is one you watched with your brother, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So top billing on the front of the DVD is Sean Pertwee and Kevin McKidd. So they don't say anything about Liam.
Yeah, Liam McClain.
Yeah. And then the only other wording on the front of the box is, "When the moon rises, the war begins."
Does that sound great?
It does. It does. And then, like, let's see.
One of the most explosive and purely enjoyable horror debuts since The Evil Dead.
Boy, that is.
But then again, like the first Evil Dead movie, I watched that one. It's not really that good.
It's not great.
The second one is actually pretty good.
Oh, that's where Bruce Campbell is like shining.
Yeah. But like the first, is this as good as the first Evil Dead movie? Maybe. Is it as iconic as the first Evil Dead movie? Probably not.
No.
But it's also got nothing after it. Whereas like the Evil Dead, you had that movie, and it had Bruce Campbell in it, and of course he went off to do big things. But there's other people in here that went off to do big things too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you had the three biggies that we talked about that people are still working today. And then there's like a bunch of people that like the dude who was doing the pugilist stuff. I think he could have been a bigger actor. I mean, he might have been like when we went through the IMDb. There was the three people who had pictures, four people who had pictures, and then there were two other randos in there that we didn't really look
and
up.
then just like a couple blank images, and then I think one of the other person that actually had an image was one of the guys that played the werewolf.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, good for him. Good for him.
So, I mean, it's not full of actors, but I mean, is it as good as Evil Dead? Yeah, maybe. Is it as good as what Evil Dead became? Probably not.
No.
Are any of the actors in this as good as Bruce Campbell? Well, it depends if it's up to what your standards of actors are. But I think they're good.
Like Bruce Campbell, don't get me wrong, he's always going to have a special place in my heart. I mean, Jesus Christ, the man, he's phenomenal. But Bruce Campbell mainly plays Bruce Campbell.
And usually in Sam Raimi movies.
Yes, like even in like the Spider-Man movies, he's still Bruce Campbell. But yeah, the Spider-Man Sam Raimi's, he was still Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I've ever seen him in where he wasn't Bruce Campbell was I think he was in Bubba Hotep.
And
I'm not
going to sing that.
And he was trying to play Elvis. And like I remember actually you haven't seen Bubba Hotep?
No.
Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to watch it.
Okay, good, because that means you'd have to watch it.
Oh, I have.
Again.
No.
If you make me watch a bad movie, you're watching it at the same time I'm watching it.
Yeah, not only that, but I don't want to be the first person to do that because that's where the war begins. Where it's like instead of like
where you talk bad about Bruce Campbell. Or something like
well, no. It's if I dropped Bubba Hotep on you, then like the next one.
Oh, okay.
That's when
I'm gonna start making you watch bad shit too.
Yeah. Have you seen? Will turn probably pretty ugly because we've been very nice to each other. Because the whole idea behind this channel was to make you watch a movie that I either loved or hated.
Yeah. Well, it's I think just to introduce us to newer shit, because I think we've got similar tastes in some areas, but then different tastes in other areas.
Definitely. But I think the reason that we've been so nice to each other lately is because I didn't realize that there was that many movies you hadn't seen. Like I had no idea. And then like when you actually started naming some stuff off too, it was just like, I've never seen that. So I think it was kind of like it became this cultural exchange kind of a thing where it's like, oh, well, this is a movie that I really like and I can't believe you haven't seen it. So I think we're still being nice to each other, but eventually we'll hit that one precipice where
It's like, hey, have you seen Blood Rain 2?
Oh,
It's like, no, why the fuck would I have seen Blood Rain 2?
Blood Rain 2. Okay, well, before I watch that, Uwe Boll. No. Straight no. Not doing it.
But it's got Christina Loken. And she was in stuff I almost enjoy.
No. No. No.
No.
No.
But she was the Terminator in Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines.
No. No.
But she was Blood Rain, or she was Rain in Blood Rain.
No.
She was also a character in The L Word, and I liked her in that one. And that's of the 3 things I've seen her in. I guess technically 4 if you count Blood Rain 2. That's the only role that was actually good.
I haven't seen it. Aeon Flux?
She wasn't in that one.
Oh, okay.
That's Charlize Theron.
That was Charlize Theron.
So the reason why I have seen Blood Rain 2 is because me and my brother watch shitty movies. One year for Christmas, my mom was like in Best Buy or whatever, like looking through DVDs, and she was like looking at something, so she called my brother. It's like, hey, Mike, do you think Nick has Blood Rain 2? It's like, I don't think he does. Do you think he'd want it? He's like, yeah, he would.
That's evil.
Yeah. So open up presents for Christmas. It's Blood Rain 2, and Mike's looking at me like, yeah. I'm like, we're gonna watch this shit together.
And as soon as you open, he's like, Hadouken!
Motherfucker, you watching this with me?
Yeah, that's Master Strike. Wow.
And you can tell the real selling points for Blood Rain. The DVD for Blood Rain came with the video game Blood Rain 2, and the DVD for Blood Rain 2 came with the video game Blood Rain.
Ooh.
So in order to sell the movie, they also had to sell the game at the same time.
You know, I've never played the game.
They were okay. They were fun, but like the first one is kind of screwy. But it's vampires versus Nazis, and it was fun that you could be like fighting against, like, I think they were like Nazi vampires or Nazi zombies or something stupid like that too. Because you could like jump on a zombie and be like feeding on them and then like shooting your guns, and then when they're shooting you, they're shooting the zombie that you're feeding on. And
Okay.
and it had some neat shit.
Sounds interesting.
Is it a good game? Probably not. But it's if you want to play a Damphir where you're like sunlight kind of burns you a little bit, so you have to like run to shadows and you're fighting with big arm blade things. It's okay.
I was realizing the other day how many games I haven't played. Like I've never played any of the Assassin's Creed games, but like Joe played them, so I've seen him play plenty of those. I never played any of the Max Payne games.
Yeah, me neither.
And it's I never played what was the one I was just thinking of that was like Bayonetta.
Okay. I've played Bayonetta. I didn't play the second one because it was only on Switch or whatever it was. I don't remember if it was Wii U, but I don't have one of those. But Bayonetta was cool.
Well, it's one of those games that looks like it's like really interesting cutscenes and it's very pretty to look at.
Yeah.
But I never played it.
It's a fucking acid trip movie too, or acid trip game too. You like kick God into the sun.
Okay.
Last boss is it's whatever God or whatever the fuck
Sounds
it is.
like Beautiful Joe, the game. Like that game was over the top too.
I don't remember that one very well. I've only seen bits of it. But you're in Bayonetta, you're fighting like biblical angels sort of thing, where they're the fucking. It's a baby head that's upside down, and it's got a dragon head coming out and like tails and wings. So imagine a dragon with a baby head body, but the baby head is upside down.
I don't want to.
And it's fucking like, what the fuck is this shit? Whereas you think of like biblical angels, where they're like, it's a ring of eyes with 6 wings on it.
So for this boss, I have a dragon with horn, and he's got extra teeth. Could you put more baby head in that? Excuse me?
Could you get a little more baby head? Just a little more baby. Well, by a little more baby head, I mean just one baby head. But could the baby head be the entire torso?
Yeah. No, I like what you came back with. Now can you flip the baby head?
That baby said too vertical.
Yeah, no. Okay, it sounds like I made a good call not playing them.
No, it's fun. It's ridiculous. And like, I mean, you're running around the fight. I can't remember what you're fighting in, but you're fighting God, and you're beating up different points of her. And at the end, it's you kick her like into the fucking sun, and then you're controlling God, dodging like asteroids and stuff like that to get her to go right into the sun and to destroy the guy. It's stupid. I love it.
Spoiler for Bayonetta.
No, the story's dumb. Who gives a shit? It's you're doing funny, like over the top murder. She's like out of character power level. She's ridiculously powerful.
Oh yeah, no. It's like she can like pull guns from her ass and shit.
But she's like, she wears her hair as clothing, and she can summon like weird things. So she'll do like a punch, and then it will open like a dimension door, and like a big creature punch will come. It's
Well,
crazy.
she's like Hela, right? basically, where she could just like pull.
I don't think she pulls. She doesn't really pull weapons out of anywhere. It's more of like she summons like the creature thing.
No.
And like her murder moves are kind of like her summoning like this big creature that like will come through and like chomp the fuck out of things and like eat them up. And
Or maybe we might have to watch the Bayonetta movie.
you know, I have Bayonetta Bloody Fate, I think is what it's called, on DVD, and I've yet to watch it.
Is that an actual movie?
Mhm.
I've never so quickly regretted my words.
I thought that's what you're talking about.
Wow,
I think I have a Lady Death movie that I've never watched either.
instant regret. No, I'm good. You know, I think if you come over and we watch this one here, if you,
Well, I need to watch it myself first to see if it's one I even want to talk about here, because I've still got choices. I think I know what movie I'm going to make you watch next, but it's not my turn. But I've at least got a few things lined up for you.
it's definitely my turn, and I know what I'm going to ask you to watch.
So
Unless
is there anything we want to add about Dog Soldiers? I think we kind of talked this one up a decent chunk.
I think we hit all the broad strokes on it. Yeah, if you like Sean Pertwee, if you like Kevin McKidd, if you like
Liam Cunningham.
yeah, Liam Cunningham, yeah, it's a neat watch.
Yeah, it's unique.
Yeah, but like I feel like it's a one and done movie. Like,
If you're down for werewolf movies, go for it.
yeah, but you know, don't walk into it thinking that you're going to be getting like the fucking Howling or something like that.
Also, if you're down for werewolf movies, watch Cursed. I think that one's underrated.
Agreed.
Watch the unrated version of Cursed.
Well, we'll have to do that as like
Just one we talk about.
yeah, just one that we just shoot the shit about, because like I agree with you that movie is
It got a lot of flack because I think it went through development hell and then got twisted around more than people wanted it. But it's a good movie because it's got who's that?
Christina Ricci.
It's Christina Ricci, but I'm thinking about the one lady who is in Ant-Man and is also in Arrested Development. She's the one that gets the boob job and they're pointing in different directions.
Yeah. Oh God.
I don't know her name, but she's in it and she's good.
Is it Megan Mullally?
No, that's not her.
I know who you're talking about because I can like see.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's a TV show. Oh my God, this show had like.
Yeah,
there's a TV
there's a lot
show?
of things called Cursed. So we got Christina Ricci.
So
Oh, it does have Portia de Rossi.
Portia de Rossi.
It's got Jesse Eisenberg in that one. Who am I thinking of? Was she that?
Milo Ventimiglia. I think he was in Heroes.
Okay, I still don't see her. What the fuck? She's
Isn't that her right there? Portia de Rossi?
No.
It's not Maya. Is
No.
it Shannon Elizabeth?
No, but Shannon Elizabeth was in it.
Is it Solar?
No, it's not. There's gonna be a picture of her. Keep going. Keep going.
Joni Acker?
Oh yeah, Nick Offerman was in it. He was a cop.
I don't remember him being in it.
Judy Greer.
Judy Greer.
Greer.
Okay.
So Judy Greer is got a role in it, and she was really good in that movie.
So I like Judy as Crystal in Archer.
Okay, I've not seen Archer. I know I've watched like an episode or two.
So good.
That's another show that I kind of like bounced off of, where I watched a couple things and I'm like, I don't think I want to watch that show.
God, Archer's amazing. It loses a step in later seasons, like because I love Adam Reed. I'm an Adam Reed fanatic. One of the first shows I ever watched with Adam Reed that I thought was amazing was Frisky Dingo. But it was like one of those ones, I think, where I like had a little party over here where like I invited everyone to come over and watch Frisky Dingo. And then the show was not as good as I remembered it being. Because it's like we started watching episodes and it was like, yeah, okay,
These aren't hitting like they used to.
these are not hitting like they used to. But like the first time I watched Frisky Dingo, it was fucking hilarious. I thought Adam Reed was a goddamn genius, and I still do. I think the man's amazing. But anyways,
So, Cursed is another good werewolf movie.
and we'll talk about it sometime.
I think I'd like to pull that one up and have a nice discussion about it. Although I watched it on HBO Max and it was the unrated or the rated version, and it was missing scenes, and I'm like, oh man, I was like bracing for something like exceptionally gory to happen.
Missing scenes?
Because I have the DVD that's the unrated version. So they put in, like in the movie, like a character dies and it's just kind of like, oh, she gets killed. In the unrated version, she gets pulled out and then thrown back into the thing and she's missing half of her and she's dragging her dying body across the ground and you're like, oh, this is gruesome.
Okay.
And it's just not in the I guess the PG version or whatever the fuck it was. I
And
think
it was on HBO?
HBO Max, yeah.
I figured that would, like, HBO don't give two fucks about what they put up there.
I didn't see the unrated version. Maybe it's like an option you can flip on, but the unrated version is the way to watch it if you want to watch like the gory kind of shocking shit, as you should.
Well, I won't ruin it.
It's Wes Anderson.
I won't ruin it, but it's got one of the most memorable scenes at the end.
Oh yeah.
Like it's got one of the most memorable and like one of the funniest fucking scenes I've ever seen.
It's good. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's kind of funny.
So I guess this is our way of saying go watch it now, and then when we talk about it, like you know,
It's if you like werewolf shit, track down Cursed. I think Cursed is a better movie than Dog Soldiers.
agreed.
It's just went through development hell, and you get to see Christina Ricci, early Jesse Eisenberg before he kind of took off. Judy Greer's good before she. I don't know if Judy Greer's ever really taken off, but
Oh no, she is taken off now.
has she taken off?
Yeah,
now?
she was. Oh my God, she's been in so many things lately. Like she's
Like-
destroying lately.
Like I really like Judy Greer. Ever since I saw her in Arrested Development, I was like, Judy Greer's funny.
Yeah, well,
And I'm gonna watch shit with her in it if I know.
she's an amazing character actress, but like here lately, especially like right after Archer. So Ant-Man, 13 going on 30. She was in Jurassic World as the mom of the two kids.
Okay.
Three Kings. Let's see. Yeah, she's been all over the place. She's Crystal or Cheryl in Archer, Halloween Kills,
No, I'm not.
Team America, World Police. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
No, apparently. What?
What the hell is that?
Animated
Animated
American
American
propaganda. Okay, I haven't heard of that one, but I guess it was still worth a mention. Family Guy, she does normal stuff on.
Yeah, she voices as well as acting. So I mean, she's good.
So she was in Kidding. Now I don't know. This was a show that I watched. It's like 2 seasons. It was Jim Carrey, and I had heard where he was basically playing like a character that was like Mr. Rogers.
Okay.
And I was really interested in it. And I'll tell you, I was super fucking bummed that they took the show off.
No, really.
Because it was really, really interesting. But she played the love interest or the ex-wife or whatever in that show, and like I said, she was fucking killing it. Because she's shown that she can be funny, but she can also play very serious as well.
She can be dramatic, yeah.
But yeah, no.
So Judy Greer's good.
Yeah, awesome.
And I think Cursed is worth it, and it gets hate, and I think it gets hate for the fact that it was it's not what it was what they were planning on it being, and it had a lot of studio interference. But if you go into watching the movie and just watch it as a movie and you don't know that, like I didn't, like I wasn't a person that followed Wes Craven all that much, so I'd never seen any of the Friday the 13th, not Friday, Freddy Krueger movies. So I wasn't going in with like certain expectations of it to be super gory or anything. But the first time I saw it was the unrated version, so it was gory anyway. So I was fine with the movie. It's good. So
if I was to recommend any werewolf movies to you, I would recommend Fright Night, because I thought the part with the werewolf in Fright Night was neat.
Okay.
I thought he looked great.
Is he a werewolf? I thought he was just a...
Evil Ed turned into a werewolf.
Okay.
Well, he was a wolf.
I thought he turned into a wolf, not a werewolf.
But then he had a half form when he was changing back.
That's because he was halfway between human and wolf.
Still looked better than any of the wolves we got in this movie.
He was a vampire.
Still looked better.
Because vampires can become wolves and become bats.
Okay, well, just watch Fright Night anyways. It's a good fucking movie.
Yeah.
And The Howling. The Howling is a very good movie. At least that's what my mind's eye is telling me. And just to also let you know, Judy Greer, just to let you know, she also did a country album that they were playing. She was playing like a country character, outlaw country character.
So she made an album
in
just
Archer.
for the show?
She made an album, and they were sponsoring it on the show. And she can sing. Like,
all right.
She's got pipes. But anyways, all right.
So, well, now it's your turn.
So, Nick.
Yes.
Have you seen Jackass? Kidding. I'm not going to make you watch
That's
that.
good. Because I'd be like, and
Channel
done.
over. No. Have you seen Man on Fire?
It's the one with the Denzel Washington, right?
Yes.
I don't think I've seen it. I don't remember seeing that one.
It's got Denzel Washington, and it's also got the little child act, Dakota Fanning.
Okay. I think I've seen scenes. I've never actually sat and watched the movie.
Okay. That's the one I'm challenging
All
you
right.
to watch.
So next week we're going to be checking out Man on Fire. Or I guess it'll be in 2 weeks. Because I think next week will be a random co-video.
Yes.
So get down in the comments. Let us know werewolf movies. Give us some werewolf movies.
Or just, tell us of the actors that we read. I know we read off quite a bit of like their stuff, but like tell us like some roles they've been in that you really enjoyed this particular person.
Yeah, what do you know Jodie Greer from?
Yeah, but
Is it Arrested Development, Tim?
most likely, yeah. It really surprised me seeing her in that show, but like Archer. That was the big one, and then like after that, my wife would watch like some of her rom-com movies. I'm like, oh shit, it's fucking Cheryl.
Well, you'd also got in Archer. Not only did you have Jodie Greer, but you had was it Laverne? Is that what her name was in Arrested Development? Lucille.
Yes, she was Archer's mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was amazing too.
Yep. It's just, oh my god.
Yeah.
We have to watch Archer. We have to do a review on Archer.
Maybe.
All right. Well, until next time.
Thank you for joining us.
Yep.
I've been Nick.
I'm Lance. Go out and do something fun. Like, go do something. Just have a you day. Treat yourself today.
Or if you're like me, stay in and watch a movie or a TV show. Because outside is awful. Who wants to go outside?
Or that. Yeah.
Bye.